Hello and a very warm welcome to Rising Stars. I'm Vikram Oza. There was a time back in the day when we created a lot of song and dance about the creation of the cafe culture growing in Indian cities. Not that it shows too many signs of abating even now, but newer trends like chai cafes, if you please, have made their way in. But the startup we're featuring on the show today is hoping they'll shake things up quite literally because they're betting on a smoothie wave. They're based in Hyderabad. 60-odd smoothie bar outlets already across more than 12 Indian cities, and they're aiming to raise the number of outlets to 150, and this would happen, they're hoping, by the end of 2019. The startup is called Drunken Monkey. Founder and MD Samrat Reddy is joining us here in the studio. Great to have you with us.
Great to be here, Vikram.
Yeah, I'm looking at you being a serial entrepreneur, Samrat, and you've seen this merit in blending over 170 special combinations of smoothies, and they fall in the health range, but I know that some of them can cure a hangover as well. Yes. So I'm just wondering whether it was health or hangovers that spurred the idea in your head.
Health, again, means a lot of things. Health means physical health. Health means mental health. So maybe if you have a good time having some beers last night and you want to get back to mental health, you can have the hangover smoothies. And for the other stuff, you have the other smoothies.
But 170 products in that menu of yours, and this would come in all these outlets that you have. Some of them, a majority of them are franchises, I understand. Whether they are QSRs or whether they are proper sit-ins, they would have all of these
yes.
to offer.
Yes.
So isn't that a little tough to maintain, considering that you would have your warehouses and, you know, getting these ingredients aren't the easiest thing?
It is tough, but not difficult. But the logic here is this: when one coffee bean can give you 15 varieties, 25 fruits, 30 fruits can give you 170 varieties. That's a logic. And we don't want to stand back.
So you want to become the Starbucks of the smoothie world, as it were.
Yeah.
Now, it's something that is tried and tested abroad. So I'm just wondering how much of that model you want to bring in over here. What's the kind of business case that you spotted in the creation of these smoothie bars?
See, we did research on a lot of smoothie bars abroad, and they do really well abroad. But when they come to India, they didn't, because they didn't localize the product, because the fruits are different here, the way we consume things are different here. I think our strength lied in how we Indianized the product and how we actually started fresh without actually looking into their menus and looking into their recipes. We started fresh for the Indian palate. That's something we did, and we can adapt that to any country, is what we feel.
That's the point, but I'm just wondering the kind of audience that you're catering to. Are they going to get ensnared by the branding of it? By the health quotient, like we started out by saying? What's the hook that you're going to get them to move out of a coffee culture, as it were, and get them to start having smoothies, something that you already have started?
Our tagline is naturally high. So we like to encourage people to be naturally high. So naturally high means a lot of things, again, which it's like you finishing a marathon, having some cold water is also naturally high. Being happy after skydiving is also naturally high. So for us, I think we are in there for the long term. We know it's going to take time to change a lot of people. Starbucks also took a lot of time. McD took a lot of time. Everyone took a lot of time. So we are here for the long haul. We're not here to make some quick bucks in a year or two and try to change things.
What about the pricing strategy? That had to play a role in designing the entire business model.
Right.
How did that play out for you?
So it was difficult, again, because first thing what people do is they compare to your juice shop. And in the juice shop you get something for like 30-40 bucks, but here there's nothing below 100-120 bucks. Right. So it starts around 100 bucks and goes up to 250-300 bucks. But then what we want to people, once they come and have it, they see the difference, they see how thick it is, how pure it is, and they compare it to a coffee. So if you're going to pay something for a coffee which is 150-180 bucks, why won't you be okay to pay this much for a smoothie which gives you the same?
Samrat, I understand you spent a lot of your own money when you started out. You've been investing in different kinds of businesses, but over here you spent 4 crores in the research and development.
Right.
What exactly did that entail? Because that is a lot of money to start spending.
See, the whole biggest problem here was about logistics of non-perishable products. I mean, perishable products, I would say.
Yes.
And how to maintain the freshness of the fruit for such a long time. Yes. And without having to change the taste. If it gets too ripe, the smoothie taste changes. If it's not too ripe, again the smoothie
But are there international standards for this? Something that you could just adopt?
So we are not following something which is being already followed.
And why is that?
we feel what we're doing is we don't use ice, but we still manage to keep it cold. So the point is every other smoothie company uses ice. And what happens with the ice is when I've tried it, I want to sip it for like half an hour's time. It starts becoming very liquidy and doesn't taste the same. So we don't use ice. We have a way that we can still get the same coolness and same texture of the smoothie without using ice. So there are a few things which we have done, which require a lot of money, and we fail a lot of times also when we try.
Oh, did you? Yeah, but that's the part of a research process. But tell me, by way of patenting this entire space that you're in, because there are so few players so far, how have you gone about doing that?
So we haven't patented anything because it can't be patented when...
because you're dealing with natural products.
Yes, natural products. But we're not afraid of it because any competition which comes in, we are going to like embrace it with open arms and be partners with them. We don't mind, because at the end of the day we want smoothies to be the winner. It's not about.
But I mean, that's easier said. Considering that you're a startup and you've invested a lot of your own money right now, you'd want to make sure that you know, this entire concept, which cannot be patented, is going to grow very rapidly. The brand is known very quickly, and you're able to open as many outlets as possible in a short period of time, so that you get the first mover advantage. So how have you worked towards that? Because competition will be biting at your heels very soon if this turns out to be as successful as you're hoping.
See, the two ways competition looks at things. They either come and join hands with you and grow together, invest in you, or they start something on their own and they do it. I think like right now, if people want to take the other route of trying to compete with me, I'm okay for the competition, because we've done our homework on how to compete with them. If they want to join hands, there are ways to do it as well. So I'm not here to beat anyone, or I'm not here to change things for people. We are here to do something good, that is help people with this product and make them naturally high.
Samrat, what are margins and revenues like right now? How is it actually shaping up in the 2 years that you've got this startup going?
So 35% of COG, cost of goods, is generally there for a smoothie. And then you have your other expenses like your rent and human resources. So it depends, your revenue model depends on the rent of the place, because that's the only thing which is very variable. Your human resources again are pretty constant, and your COG is always constant. So touch wood, most of our stores are doing really, really well.
And expansion-wise, when you look at getting into more spaces in India, what's the strategy over there? And I know you have global expansion plans for which you need a large chunk of money. How are you going to go about that?
See, we have some investors in hand, but at this point we're just holding back a little bit with the investors, because we want to do the investment part like a little later, when we feel there's going to be a big leap we need. Maybe once we are around that 150 mark is when I feel that it's the right time to invest and go reach 500 in a flash.
150 outlets is the target that you've set.
Yes, and then we get something in and reach 500 in a flash, and then get something in and then go abroad.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a plan right now. We hope all of this works out for you by way of an entire culture, smoothie culture, healthy as it is, and obviously bottled very well, and to create that kind of mold that really stands out against the competition, something that you've really worked on. We wish you great luck with this, Samrat Reddy.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
And indeed, there'll be many more entrepreneurs on Rising Stars, so we suggest you keep it with us. Thanks for joining us.